Here at the National on Collect TV, I'm Darren Rovell. I'm joined by Steve Grad, the all-time auto authenticator king.
How are you?
How was that intro?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, we go back a long way,
Long way.
long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Before we were both not gray.
before, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect,
Yes.
gray hair, yeah.
Yes. How has the autograph business, authentication, what people want, how has that changed over, say, the last 15 years?
Well, I'll just go back to '02 when I started at PSA. It was so small time. We didn't have what we call small search to put on Bob Feller, Jeff Bagwell. We were doing full letters. The whole thing has evolved so much that it's even hard for me to put into words to tell you if it's become for at least Beckett authentication, it's multi-millions of dollars. And I'm sure JSA and PSA, the witness stuff, the encapsulation. Now it's signed tickets, which you love, and signed photos, and we can encapsulate that photo. And people ask, oh, can you encapsulate 11 by 14? Well, it's a little too big. Let's slow down. But it's changed so much. And what's crazy, and I'm amazed by this. The vintage stuff, it still comes up, pops up. I'm seeing Ruth and Garrick on a ball today. I'm like, why wasn't this authenticated years ago? It wasn't. And
There's
it's
still things in closets, and it's still
yeah.
still there.
I always think they're gone
Right.
because you hear about these great collections that come out and they're like, oh no, those are long gone. No, they're not. They're still out there, and I see them all the time. I see great Elvis pieces. A $20,000 Elvis piece, never seen the light of day, and here it is. So
Yeah,
it's
those
cool to see
Elvis contracts that recently, the guys at Memory Lane are showing. I
yeah,
mean, it's
crazy.
wild.
Yeah, it's really wild.
What do you think about on-card autos and where that's come in the last 5 years?
Man.
Totally flipped. Like, don't ever touch a card, please don't do it. And now
So-
it's the hottest thing going.
Exactly. So in 1988, I'm at O'Hare Airport, lived in Chicago, chasing autographs. The Bulls flew commercial. I'm at the airport.
No, they didn't.
Yes,
they
they
did.
did.
88.
They sure did.
Holy smokes!
Yes. So the whole team. So Jordan's standing in front of one of the hot dog stands on Concourse C at O'Hare. True story, United Airlines. I said, can you sign, please? And I had a little autograph book with me, and I had the 86 Flair, and then I had, I think, the 87 All-Star, something like that, or 87. He goes, I won't sign that one. It's worth too much. This is an 88.
Really? So people who say, oh, he's still not aware. He already knew that.
He knew then, and that's why I always say to people, Jordan knew back then, and it was really not the cool thing to do to get rookie cards signed. That's why we don't see a ton of Mantles or Hank Aaron's. They're out there, but they're in limited quantity.
That's the first time I heard Jordan being aware of something in the memorabilia.
And he knew it. He pointed, he goes, that's worth too much. I'll sign this one instead.
Wow.
True story.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Since you were an original grapher back in the day, what is the absolute best story you can tell me?
Oh, gosh. I think my favorite story was it's for a president, Gerald Ford, doing an event in Chicago, black tie event. I'm wearing a leather jacket and a T-shirt waiting outside, and no lie. So I see him in this event. We're kind of inside, but not inside.
And this is what year?
This is about 95.
Okay.
So I see the people. There's Secret Service everywhere taking tickets.
Still has
I
Secret
just
Service, yep.
walked into the event. I said, screw it. I had a piece signed with Carter and Nixon. I wanted to get him on. He's there. He has a cup of coffee in his hand and a piece of cake. True story. I said, Mr. Ford, would you mind signing for me? And he looks at me. He looks around. He puts both of them down. He goes, I'm going to sign one. And all of a sudden, I see someone go like this. Someone else go
You're
like
dead
this.
over an autograph. You're going to be dead.
Possibly. They start looking at me. Nothing happens. It's weird. Ford signs. I said, thank you. Nice to meet you. So I'm one-on-one with him. There's no one really around.
Right.
But I could see people peripheral. I'm thinking I might get a piece of cake. 'Cause no one sees me. About 10 seconds later, about 7 Secret Service guys encase me, say, please come with us. One of them goes and pulls a pair of handcuffs. And I said, you don't need those. I'll come with you. They take me downstairs. They run every check on me humanly possible.
You're a pretty clean guy.
Yeah, I was clean. They said, we're going to let you go. They made copies of everything. Years later, my sister was kind of recruited by a government agency to work. She speaks 4 or 5 languages. They pulled up kind of a family history, and they knew about that.
Was it worth it? Did she still
it
get the
was.
job?
No, she did not.
Oh.
But I got the story.
Right.
So the story's
Right.
cool. And that really happened to me. And I was kind of scared for a while, but it worked out for the best.
Who's the best signer ever? Like, we'll just take time, and you're like, "Are you kidding me? What is
Well,
this?"
I always thought John Travolta was one of the best. I think Daniel Radcliffe is probably up there for celebrities, at least. Sports stars, he's gone, but Tony Gwynn was.
Oh, Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn signed about 30 for me at a hotel one day.
See, he did
30.
that, and he did.
How many
He's
cards you got? 30? I got them all, kid.
exactly. He kept saying to us one time, "Wait, give me a
Take
day, give me a day." Last day of the series, sat down, came out, said, "I'll sign everything different," and we knew that. So I had like 85 cards. Didn't have a problem with it. Still one of the nicest guys. I mean, when he passed away, still nice. Up until that time, wonderful human being.
Worst signer. Will not sign anything.
Ugh.
Never, ever. But that you got after 10 years.
Willie Wilson was terrible.
Willie Wilson.
Yeah.
Who wants him that bad?
Needed him for sets. Awful signer.
85 Royals.
Yeah, and Bo Jackson was terrible as a player, and especially the early days, threatened people, going to give you an elbow, knock your teeth out. He just was not nice. George Brett was always tough. As
Yes.
Royals guys, it's weird. There was players all over the league that were just strange about signing. Randy Myers. He'd only sign the card that year. You'd have to get him at the ballpark if you were lucky, and he was a weirdo.
Now you're going to tell me Doug Sisk also didn't.
Oh no,
sign
he was
well?
a nice guy. Don't worry. Great
So
guy.
you know everyone.
Yeah, he was great.
Okay, let's talk about cut autos on cards. What? I don't like they'll take like a Babe Ruth and like the H will be like cut. What is going? How do these things have any value? Why are card companies still doing this?
It's really strange. So they take, let's say, a letter, or you're right, like Babe Ruth writes on the back of a check.
I don't care if it's a little bit up. Just give me the full auto.
I think it's a little ridiculous. I've never been a big fan of it. But what I did see, and I wanted to mention this to you, and I can't show it, but someone had upper deck cards from maybe 20 years ago, the quad cards, and the guy had bought them, submitted them to Beckett the other day, and inside you open them up where the autographs were, like six
And
guys,
they are full.
all copies. And I'd never seen that. They were bad black and white copies, and the guy had bought them, 3 different upper deck cards.
Wow.
And I'd never seen that before. People do weird stuff. This was maybe a color copy would have fooled, but Ty Cobb was in there, Ruth, Griffey, even Sosa, but they were all copies.
So they were originally in there.
They were,
probably,
yeah.
And then just
Absolutely.
taken out. And, wow.
I'd not seen that before. So
What is the autograph that we should think about in the future? That's like, so what I've seen is presidents, Lincoln, Washington going crazy.
they are.
Yeah. So that MLK going crazy, and Disney. Those are my 4 that have in the last 5 years I've seen really move. Anyone else that you think is kind of like just going?
Well, I still think Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, anybody that stays prevalent right now that we grew up with, or even before you and me. JFK is another one too, on great items. They are always going to be popular and collectible. I see people collecting stuff. I'm like, why are you doing? They're getting Jeremy Allen White from the is it from the Bear?
Yeah.
It was Scribble. The guy's like, I really want to collect them. I'm like, it's just an up and down line. Collect the icons.
People say the same thing about Trump.
But I do like, the idea. I think the one thing you've really helped champion cause and lead is the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a friend that has an amazing signed ticket collection, and I know you are so into it. You've really gotten like the hobby to wake up to it.
I'm proud of it.
You really
it's a
have done a
moment.
great
It's
job.
different from cards. It's it is what it is.
It's much better, and I think the tickets are awesome. And I have some, but not on any great level. I think those are the great things that get signed. And years ago too, people would be like, "Why would you get a ticket signed?"
Or a ticket from when you weren't there. Well, it affected my life.
Exactly, and that's what you've done. You've showed me so much stuff. I watch your feed, and it's like you've shown me so many autographs of just like cool events that I wouldn't even think of. There was just one the other day. I was like, "Huh? How did he know that?" Do you have an encyclopedia now?
No, I just have a. So you've been big into Star Wars.
Of course.
Tell me about the Grad collection
Okay, so the Grad collection is just everything I've amassed through the years. All this stuff
that you finally started to sell over the last 2 years.
2 years, really.
Yeah.
It started with Ken Golden, and then it sprung from there. Sold the Star Wars sets, sold my posters.
You pretty much were like Star Wars. There's been a lot of guys that have been hard, and you had them all.
I had just about everybody. I think it's time to get back. I can't take it with me. My wife reminds me every day, why do you collect that? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take it to your grave? I'm not. My kids don't want it. So I would rather just offer it and put it out here. My wife and family work the booth. I work at Beckett, and we offer some great stuff. It's really neat stuff. one of a kind. A lot of it is.
Steve, thanks.
Great to
What
see you, my
what a
friend.
pleasure. Thank you
Thanks,
so
man.
much.
Always great seeing
Okay.
you. Always.